Alright, July favorites. Here are 3 of my favorite finds from the interwebs this month. We've got an app, a YouTube recommendation, and a comic book. All 3 of them are about different ways of seeing the world. As the world changes at an increasingly rapid rate, I think it's an important skill to be able to view the world from different perspectives, new or old. First up is an app called Minutia. At a random minute throughout the day, everyone with the Minutia app gets a notification. Open your phone and you have 3 seconds to line up a photo. 3, 2, 1, click. There's no time to frame up something Instagram worthy or anything notable, so you just take a photo of whatever's around you. Social media is full of highlight reels, great food, beautiful landscapes, big booties, but the majority of our lives are made up of much more mundane moments. Minutia asks, what if we captured the mundane? Would we pay more attention to our regular day-to-day? Would we be able to cherish the boring moments of our lives as much as the highlights? Would we be more mindful? After you've taken a photo, you get a chance to see one random user's photo reel. Scroll through and you get to see boring pictures from someone else. People chilling on the couch watching TV, friends waving, maybe slightly confused, shopping carts at the supermarket, gray office cubicles, concerts, and toilet paper rolls. It's really neat to scroll through all these random mundane moments. Users come from all over the world, Texas and Spain and Japan and New York and Finland. It's funny to see the ways people around the world are the same and the ways that we're different. If you enjoy people watching, I think you'll really enjoy Minutia. What this app has made me realize is that if the boring day-to-day of other people's lives are interesting, why can't mine? I only have one complaint, and because you only have 1 minute to respond to the notification, I end up wanting to carry my phone everywhere. Part of the ethos of the app is trying to get you away from scrolling social media endlessly, but then wanting to get the notification makes me really want to check my phone all the time. Minutia does cost a small amount, it's like $15 or something, and to be transparent, one of the creators offered to waive my fee, but I like Minutia enough that I paid for it. They're not selling your data and they have to pay for server fees somehow. If you use Minutia for 1,440 days, you'll have 1 photo for every minute of the day, and at the end of the project, you'll be able to download all of your photos, or maybe get a book made. If that's the kind of thing that strikes your fancy, check it out. Links in the description. My next recommendation is a YouTube channel by Van Neistat. You're probably familiar with Casey Neistat, who kind of popularized daily vlogs on YouTube. Van is his older brother, the other Neistat in the Neistat brothers.
The channel is called Van Neistat. The series is called The Spirited Man.
Even if you don't like Casey's videos, you might like Van's. Van is interesting for a few reasons. First, he's Gen X. He's kind of the last generation to grow up without computing or the internet everywhere. Van types his scripts on a typewriter and he uses handwriting and drawings instead of digital animation. And it's not because he's trying to be a hipster or trying to be cool, but because he's more comfortable working with tangible things. That's just who he is. In a world where we increasingly spend our days staring at flat, glowing rectangles, it's really nice and refreshing to see someone tinker with physical objects. Another reason Van is interesting is he doesn't watch YouTube, besides maybe to fix his dishwasher or something. This makes his videos look different. Most YouTubers, myself included, we watch YouTube and we see ideas and we see techniques and we borrow those ideas. The result is that a lot of YouTube videos look like YouTube videos. There's common patterns that show up over and over again. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Van's videos look more like something straight out of a home video from the 90s. Of course, it's much more polished. The last reason I like Van is that he kind of jerry-rigs and builds and DIYs everything in his life. He'd rather spend a few days building an overhead camera jig than spend $30 that it would cost from a camera store. A previous productivity-obsessed version of me would say, oh, this is a ridiculous waste of time. But now I think there's something beautiful about it. Rather than beating himself up for his inefficient idiosyncrasies, Van embraces them as part of his creative process. His tinkering and DIY has become an essential part of the channel, almost like its own recurring character. It wouldn't be a Van Neistat video without something getting built or fixed or modified. Van explores this concept in this video about the details. Why be obsessed about small details and things you're obsessed about when there's a more efficient, more optimized way to do the same thing? If you want Van's answer, check out his video up here or up here. I can never remember which side it is. My last recommendation for today is a comic book by Nick Susanis. This comic, Unflattening, also happens to be his PhD dissertation. Our theme today is seeing the world in different ways, and that's exactly what Unflattening is about. There's a short story by Edwin Nabat called Flatland. In Flatlands, the characters are stuck in a two-dimensional world. They can move left and right, forwards and backwards, but they have no conception of upwards. When a three-dimensional character shows up in Flatland, astonishing miracles happen. The 3D character can change size, and he can even teleport by moving out of the plane and coming back in it. Susanis wants to help us break out of rigid ways of thinking, to explore and wonder if we're missing our own version of upwards.
And so maybe my biggest question became, what are we failing to see? What are we missing when we're only allowing one way of thinking in our classrooms, in our scholarship? And what might we start to make visible when we bring in other ways of thinking?
He does this by breaking the rules in a lot of ways. First, he wrote his dissertation in a comic book form. You're supposed to write a dissertation with 12-point font, Times New Roman, 1-inch margins. But why not a comic? Why not this medium, this format that can convey more information than just pure text? The comic itself plays with the ways comics are read, often utilizing the whole page to illustrate an idea or breaking the normal left to right, top to bottom flow. The art is beautiful and dynamic and a joy to look at. Just look at these pages. They're gorgeous. A key idea from the book is that to share knowledge with each other, we have to strip out context. A geographical map of the world has to remove information about weather and population and GDP and happiness levels, otherwise it would be too busy to read. And that's okay and can even be a good thing. But when our knowledge sharing becomes too rigid and too standardized in certain ways, we might totally forget about those other contexts. The real world contains complexity and it contains messiness. It's really tempting to simplify the complexity away and to think in black and white terms that are easier to understand. But when we do that, we run the risk of making mistakes. We run the risk of running off a cliff when our map doesn't show any topographical detail. Unflattening serves as a good reminder to escape that trap, or at least to try. Alright, that's 3 of my favorite finds from this month. They're all about seeing the world in a little different way than you normally would. Links for all 3 are in the description. Check them out and enjoy. And I'll see you next time.